Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents? Hopefully, everybody's having a good day, night, morning, evening, wherever it is, wherever you're at. Back again for another HOF 40 or 4090 HOF or Galax 4090 HOF update. Let's see. Again, got in from work, jumped right on the rig. So, with everything being said and done, this is where we're at. CPU loop is completely 100% done now. The only thing I got to do now is the GPU loop. Then after the GPU loop, I fill up the rig, or I put the water cooling in it, bleed it, and then I start testing it out, doing the basic benchmarks to make sure everything's steady or stable, more or less. Update the BIOS, obviously, do all that stuff, install Windows, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, as you can see, I did redesign the loop again. So this is pretty much how this is gonna go, or this is pretty much how this is going. Oh, and another thing I also did is my idea that I had for the wiring worked out beautifully. Thank God that the customer took and told me just to use zip ties. So I bought white zip ties and got that all taken care of now. So that actually came out a lot better than I thought it was going to. But so yeah, that's pretty much how that is now, as you can see. Which, I mean, personally, for how these distro plates are designed, my opinion, I don't know anybody who could have done a better job. If you think you can, I would love to see you try. But yeah, that's pretty much that. So pretty much how this works is this distro plate reservoir combination. This is for the CPU. This giant reservoir here on the bottom, or this giant distro plate down here on the bottom, and this back distro plate. This is all for the CPU end. Which I can already probably hear some people saying, aren't you going to have flow restrictions, or aren't the pumps going to struggle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because of all this? No, the reason why I did all this is, one, it's what the customer wanted. Two, these two pumps, which are DDC pumps, which are EK DDC pumps, they work in series, which means they work together. So it's double the pumping power. So I ain't got nothing to worry about on that. So how it actually works is the pumps pump the water out through the bottom here, comes down to this distro plate here, goes across the bottom here, does its thing, comes up through the top here, comes in, and just pretty much goes back and forth till it gets to the top here. Then it shoots down to the bottom here, goes into the Iceman direct eye water block, goes in through the bottom here, comes out the top here, shoots into the Black Ice Nemesis radiator, goes across the top, goes around, comes out here, shoots to the back of the case back there, then shoots up along the back, comes down into this distro plate here, goes across the top here, comes out here, goes into the top of the radiator, right, if I can get my finger back there, top of the radiator back here, then comes out, then shoots out the bottom here, or the top here, and goes into the reservoir here. Which, what I'm actually going to take and do is, when I first did this, when I first did this, I just ran it here. I honestly don't like this for the simple fact of, well, it's got the passage here, so it's going to block everything. It's going to make it more difficult to bleed the reservoir itself. So I'm actually going to be taking this line and I'm going to be switching it to the top here. So this will be the fill port as it should be, and this will pretty much be the bleeding port, or whatever the heck it is you want to call it. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. And the reason why the reason why the inlet and outlet at the top here is for bleeding purposes, to bleed the radiators, is you want all the air out of the radiator, so the radiator is at max efficiency. Whew. So yeah, that's pretty much that. As I said again, all I gotta do now is just do the GPU loop, and then I fill up the system, and then I bleed it, and then once it's all said and done, it's all bled, I install Windows, update the BIOS on the motherboard, install Windows, update the BIOS on the motherboard, update Windows, etc., etc., etc. Then after I do that, then I just take and I run the basic benchmarks, to make sure the system is steady, not going to go crazy with it whatsoever. Once the rig is all said and done and built, my job is to make sure that it runs steady, and then once it runs steady, and I show the customer that it's running steady and everything's running up and running, then I ship the rig back to the customer, and at that point in time, if the customer wants to do some heavier overclocking, that's on him. Whatever happens, happens. That's on him. My job is done once it's up and running and steady, and it's sent back to the customer. But so yeah, on the end of the GPU loop, it's all gonna be all the GPU loop is gonna be hidden down here. What I plan on taking and doing is when I do the GPU loop, I'm gonna have the lines running coming up through the bottom here to the back of the GPU, and then your inlet outlet coming in and out the back here. And yes, going to be doing quick disconnects because the customer wants to be able to easily swap out the GPU because as far as I'm aware of, I guess the 5090 is going in here. So yeah, so that's pretty much gonna be that. Which me and the customer are talking about that already, because there's some different little plans going on already. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. And if I could take a pop this bottom, I'll pop this bottom freeze really quick. There's really nothing down here. It's pretty much it doesn't even matter anyway because the radiator's down there, so it doesn't even really matter for me to pop it. Outside of the radiator going across, you got the there's I think it's a 1500 or 1600 watt Thermaltake PSU back here. And you got the another 480 millimeter 30 millimeter Blacklight Nemesis. Same thing as this radiator up here. The same radiator that's here is in the front here, is in the bottom here. So that's pretty much that. And as I said, underneath here is just a radiator, 4 fans, which is the same fans that are up here, the Lion Lees. Got the 480 millimeter radiator with the Lion Lee fans, and then the Thermaltake PSU, which I want to say is 15 or 1600. I forgot exactly which one it was, but that's all that's down here so far. Other than that, behind the radiator right here, this is all just pretty much an open up pocket for the time being. As I said, I gotta figure out the GPU war loop. Gotta figure that out. Like I said, I got in from work and I just jumped right on this thing and got way farther than I thought I was gonna get. But yeah, so as I said I was gonna do is switch the radiator around and switch that around, opened up everything, made everything just fall right into place. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So give you guys a little up close look before we end this video. This white tubing is so sexy. It really is. But yeah, so again, that's pretty much that. So with that being said and done, hopefully everybody's having a good day, night, morning, evening, wherever you're at. I'm out later.